Welcome everyone to Command Your Database, the blueprint to 250K at GCI. We are here today at the Keller Williams Advantage office. Thank you all so much for joining me in person and on Zoom. We are going to really get into it today. I love this class. There's so much value packed in here. You're not even going to know what to do with half of it until the end of the class. But I promise I'm here to help. And if you're an agent inside of one of my market centers at Keller Williams Downtown or Keller Williams Advantage, just know that anything that you hear, see today, you can always sit down with me and we can talk about some of this stuff one-on-one. Now, if you're an agent outside of my office, I don't have any offerings currently right now. I'm always happy to advise over email, where you can send me an email at steven.delisio@kw.com, where we can talk about solutions and what that might cost to get some of that help if you're outside the market center. But being a part of my market centers is a huge value add for you as a real estate agent, because you can sit down with me one-on-one, where, like I said, otherwise you have to pay for those one-on-ones. And so tell your friends, tell your family members that are real estate agents of why you stay here at Keller Williams Advantage, why you're at Keller Williams Downtown, so that you get this additional support. All right. So we talked a little bit about our goals. Thank you all for engaging in the chat. I'm going to be asking for that later. We'll ask for some of our in-person people to answer some questions as well. Now is a good time to pull out the Command Your Database Student Guide. For my people on Zoom, you were emailed this earlier today if you signed up for the class. If you did not sign up for the class, I will drop the link into the chat right about now. Give me just 1 second to grab the link. Copy, chat. If you didn't get it in your email, you now can grab it in the chat. And this is the student guide for today. We're going to be going through some of this, and I'll walk you right through every step with me so that it's nice and easy to get the data that we need. Because there's a little bit of calculations that we need to do before we start this class. And the goal of today is to give you a plan to build your database at a high level. Not just having the names in a CRM, but specifically having those names organized in a CRM to help you set up your touch program for all of those contacts. When I say touch program, I mean the annual marketing you're going to do to your database. And we'll get into details about that. You'll see in the resource file, there is the 36 touch that you hear a lot about, that originated from the MREA book that we use so much and I use so much in all my trainings. And that 36 touch, we're not going to be going through how to do most of that stuff today. But in that resource file, I have given you a list of links for each part of the 36 touch and a video with how to do all of those touches exactly. Because I know you have to do them regularly. And if you're learning it here in class, it usually goes in one ear and out the other for that kind of training of click here, click here. So utilize those videos so that you can go at your own pace. You'll find them in the resource file. We will be sharing that resource file that I did here at the beginning of class a few more times throughout the class. Let's talk about our agenda for today. So first, we're going to start with our blueprint. That's some of the math we're going to do on our sheet here. We'll dive into the resources and I'll give you kind of an overview of everything that's in there. Then we're going to talk about growing your database, which you'll hear is called feed it every day. One of the 4 laws of building a database is feed it every day. And you feed your database 2 things: new people and new information about those people. Because sometimes we have lots of people in our database, but we have a name and a phone number. And that's not enough. To be able to run a high-level touch program, we need name, phone number, email address, birthday if possible, and the most important in our business, their current address. We can be so much more valuable for people when we know where they live, because they are at least a little bit interested in the real estate that is in their neighborhood where they live. And if they own the home, they're extra interested. And we have some great tools at Keller Williams to help you do that marketing. And in the future, I do teach lots of classes, y'all, so be on the lookout for that. I got a direct mail class that I'm going to tell you all about a little bit later today. It'll be happening next week and be going up onto the YouTube next week as well for all of my YouTubers out there watching this video after. After we talk about feeding it, we're going to talk about organizing your database and filling out the information. I have some great resources for you there. And then, like I mentioned, we'll talk about touches to the database, our touch program. Now, throughout the class today, you're going to see this symbol pop up on a few screens. This explosion symbol that you see, if you see it on a screen, that is telling you that that is an action step. Meaning you're going to need to do something after this class. This is one of the action steps that I'm going to be talking to you about, because if you look at the back of the student guide, if you flip it over and look at the back, you'll see action steps and deadlines to give you a little bit of structure of when you're going to get this done. At the end of class, we're going to write down and fill out this action step section, and the action steps should be the things that you see the explosion on the page. It's not going to be that big, but you will see it on a couple of slides, and that is telling you, oh, this is an action step. This is something I need to make time to go do on my own. Can also be something that you make time to do with me, because we can do this together. If you schedule a one-on-one, we can do some of these action steps together, or at least get you started together so you feel a little bit more confident being able to do these different tech things. Because I know some of this stuff is kind of intimidating for some people, and that is why I bring that value so that you can meet with me one-on-one. Now, one of my favorite quotes from the MREA book, buried in here, talks about our database. And Gary Keller gives us this great quote that says, your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. And I'd even argue any business. Doing this for any business, every large business, has a database and utilizes it to communicate to those people the value of that company. And in real estate, you are the value. You get to bring out that value. And like I said, we have lots of ways to help you do that as well here at Keller Williams Advantage. Paul is here. Let's let him in. Now, one more quote here. Oh, sorry. Before we do that, just a reminder, at the end of class, I'm going to ask you for an evaluation. I would love to get evaluations from every person on the call today. My goal is a big goal of getting 500 testimonials for my classes this year. I hit about 465 last year, and so I'm really pushing to get 500, which means I need one from all of you. And that also means don't worry about it. If don't think that I'm going to be offended if you don't give me a high score. I used to teach middle school. I used to teach high school. Those students are much harder on you as an instructor than any adult has ever been for me. So please, I want your honesty. I want to know what you got out of the class, what could be better, where I rank in those questions. It only takes a minute to fill out. I'll give you the link later today so that you can do that in the class, and you'll get it sent to you tomorrow if you have to buggy. Now the next quote. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships. And I show you both of these quotes because they have one word that shows up in both that is the heart of our business. Anybody guess that word from this quote? Kathleen, what is it?
Relationship.
Oh, do I sound a little bit like a broken record? Have you heard me say this before? Relationships, they show up in both of these places because that is how important they are to our business. And being able to scale your ability to create and nurture relationships will dictate how big of a business you can grow. And so keep these quotes in mind that this is what the top level real estate agents do. At the very highest levels, the MREAs or Millionaire real estate agents, they are all doing these things with a database. And the longer you wait to build your database, the longer you're going to have to wait to really grow your business. Of course, you're going to get deals, but you will see the consistency increase, the frequency increase, and just the total number increase when you're running all of these systems that I teach you today. But to start, we have to give you the blueprint to know what you're going to build out first. And there's a few things I want you to consider before we go in and do all of these notes together. Number one, the plan that I'm presenting to you is all researched data. None of this is me just picking numbers out of the air. This is all researched average data for the market, coming from some numbers coming from the MREA. Most of the numbers that you'll hear me talk about today actually come from the NAR studies, the National Association of Realtors, and how often people move when they use a realtor. But I'd say all that to remind you that this takes time to work. On average, it takes 18 months to see the consistency from this, which is why I say the sooner you get your database going, the sooner it's going to start paying off for you. Because it's not instant. You don't load everybody into a CRM, send them 2 emails, and now you have your pipeline filled for the year. I wish it was that easy. If it was, there'd be a lot more real estate agents in this room. But it's not that easy. But I will say, it is simple. Just follow the path. We have the model. We must have the information to contact people in different ways. If you just have phone numbers, this is really difficult to really scale to a higher level because phone numbers, all we can do is mass text them. And I don't know about y'all, but my database does not like communicating via mass text with me. They like phone calls, they like personal text, but they don't like mass text messages that they can tell was sent to every other person in my database. They generally don't respond and they usually unsubscribe, which means I can't text them again. So I utilize my text messages very strategically when I do those. And your database can be a data bank, but it all depends on your commitment to it. It takes daily actions, daily activities to really find the success in the system. But I'll tell you, I will give you everything you need to be able to get the money out of your database. And I love hearing some of our goals. Everyone's goals today ranged from 100,000 to 150,000 in GCI, which is perfect. You are all in the right place to get that consistent business and maybe even more. So let's go through the blueprint. We're going to do some math together, and you'll see on your student guide, the very first page that you see on here, you'll see the blueprint. And we're looking for this blueprint section that starts with GCI goal. I had us all share that GCI goal at the beginning of class, and I'd like you to write down that goal in that spot. Donna, we're just on the front page for right now. So go ahead and write down your GCI. I'm going to put 100. You see on the screen, I did the calculations at 250K in GCI, but since most of our goals are 150 or less, I'm going to use 150 to walk through these numbers with you. Because what we're going to figure out is how many people need to be in your database to reach your goal, so that you can determine, do you have enough? Do you need more? Do you need just more information about the people you have? We're going to walk through that now. So next, average commission. Now, some of you might know your average commission because you've sold enough deals to know what your average commission is. Very simple. You take all your commissions, add them together, divide by how many commissions you had. That's your average. You might not have an average commission because you're a little newer. For you, let's say use $12,000 as your average commission. The average in this office, I believe, is like $14,700. That includes everyone. That includes Nick's $200,000 commission. That includes Sheila Bailey's commissions as an average. For newer agents, I don't think it's usually that high. So I say use 12,000. If you want to be really conservative, use 10,000. It's pretty rare to get a commission for less than 10,000 in our market. It happens, but it's pretty rare in our market. We have a pretty high price point throughout the metro area. So you're going to put down your GCI goal. You're going to put down your average commission. I'm going to use 12,000 as my average commission number. Then now we need to figure out how many closings we need. And all you have to do to figure that out is take your GCI that you wrote down and divide it by your average commission. And so I'm going to do that with y'all since we're calculating new numbers. I had them all planned out for 250K, but we can do it live. So I do 150,000 divided by 12,000, and I get 12.5. Can we have 0.5 closings? We kind of can, but I don't like considering them. You know, you can get a referral 0.5 or 2.25 closings, but I just round up. And I would suggest you do the same here. So I'm going to put down closings needed, 13. And then you'll see right below conversion rate. This number is a low conversion rate. On average, the National Association of Realtors tells us that people move about every 10 years. And in our database, that means that about 5% of our database is going to move every year. That would be the conversion rate if you were all amazing at converting every person that tells you that they want to buy or sell. But because we have some newer agents in the audience today, we're going to use 3.5% as our conversion rate. Because if you do convert more, you're just going to make more money. And I'm guessing everybody's cool with making more money. if that is the case, but 3.5% conversion is just saying that out of your full database, 3.5% of them are gonna move this year, which is low compared to the national averages. So you should be able to even do better. So now, do we all have our number of closings that we need to meet our goal? If you're on Zoom, let's put those number of closings in the chat. Let's see how many closings we need based on your average commissions. For me, like I said, 13, 150K, 12,000 average commission results in 13 closings needed to make that GCI. Got 15 for Paul, love it. 9 for Minta. What are we coming up with in class?
Sorry, are you on number, Nathan?
Number of closings, yeah.
10.
10. Rachel?
13, I thought I had 13.
Sounds right.
Okay.
Sounds right.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So now, take that number of closings, and you're going to divide that number by 0.035. So if I take, for me, I'm going to take 13, the 13 closings, and divide by 0.035, which is just that 3.5% as a decimal. And it tells me 371.4. So again, we can't have 0.4 contacts. That is something we definitely can't have. So we're just gonna round up, 372. And that tells us if we wanna meet our goal of making 150,000 and converting only 3.5%, we need 372 contacts in our database. A really wonderful agent, if anybody knows Natalie Davis, she is a NAR, she teaches for NAR across the nation, and I love the way that she defines her database. She defines her database as the number of people that she has talked to in the last year. Not the number of people in her phone or in her CRM, it's the number of people that she's talked to. And I recommend that you make sure that you talk to all of the people that, or the number of people that you see in that number. Contacts needed in database for me, 372 contacts. So we're also gonna need to look at how many contacts you have in your database currently, so we can fill that gap between the two. So does everybody have their contacts needed in database number written down? All right, let's move on to the next step. Our blueprint is starting to come together. Okay, there we go. Now, we're gonna move on to the student guide to the second page. And turn it over to the back side of the first page. Here, where you see at the top, feed it every day. And the first question that I want you to answer is how many contacts do you have now? Inside of Command, if you're using Command, or inside of your CRM, if you're using another one. If you have not put your contacts into any CRM, I want you to use the number of contacts in your phone.
How are we defining contacts?
I define contacts same way Natalie does, people you have talked to.
I would have to go through and check that. So,
Just do an estimate for now. Do you have the total number of contacts needed? Without thinking about,
I'm high, I'm above that. But
good. Are you talking to all those people?
even voicemails. So,
And I count a voicemail, as long as you're attempting to, you can't control whether they answer or not. But if you can control who you call and who you don't call, but if you are attempting to reach out to them, I would count them in your database. So how many contacts do you have now? I'm gonna put down in mine, I have 250 contacts in my database. So right here, I'm putting 250, and then I need to figure out what is the gap to my goal. So if I need 372, I have 250, what is my gap? You're gonna figure out the same thing for yourself. And you'll see on here, it gives you the little math equation. contacts needed, minus 372, minus contacts that I have, 250, and I get 122 contacts needed that I'm putting right here in the gap for our goal. I need to find 122 more people to add to my database this year to be able to reach my goal of 150,000. See, question in the chat. Derek's already gone ahead and figured out the rest of these questions, because once we know the total, we can break it down so that we can more accurately target that total. I have 122 that I need to do over the year. So how many do I need per month? I need about 10, right? Because 12 months in a year, 122 divided by 12, I need about 10, and 2 of those months I need to add 11. Simple as that. Now you can even take it even a step further. How many contacts do you need to add per week? If I need 10 per month, you can divide by 4, I get 2.5. And so I'd even say 3 there as an easy number. And now it starts to go from, oh my gosh, I have to add 120 people to my database to, oh, I just need to meet 3 new people per week. Could we do that? What's one way to meet 3 new people a week that all agents love to do? Church. I love that. Church is a great answer. Do you go every week? Most weeks. Church is one answer.
People are on there. How many people are in the swimming pool?
Where else can we get new contacts? What's one that all real estate agents love to do right now?
Neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods? How about open houses? Could we meet 3 new people to add to our database once a week at an open house?
Yes.
Probably. Absolutely. You'll meet probably more right now. I heard open houses are pretty hot. They're kind of hard to get business out of, but you will build your database. And as a new agent, I wish I would have understood that open houses were more about building my database than finding a hot buyer. Because I did open houses every weekend looking for a hot buyer, and when I didn't find one, I moved on to the next open house, and I left all that value of the contact information that I collected at the open house. I didn't do anything with it. Because number one, I wasn't at KW and I didn't know any better. Number 2, I was looking for the wrong thing. I was expecting somebody to go in and go, I don't have any representation. I don't have an agent. I want to buy this house. And if you've ever run open houses at a high scale, you'll find that that happens maybe 1 in 1,000 open houses, that you get that buyer that walks in unrepresented and wants to buy that house. It's very rare. The key of an open house is that you are building your database so that you can follow up with those people. So when the time is right for them to move, they call you. That's the whole goal of our database, is that when they're ready to move, you've been top of mind enough that they call you to set that first appointment up, to sell their home, to buy their next home, whatever it is. And now you all have an idea of how many new people you need to be building your database to. You have your target number, you have your gap, and now you have a monthly and weekly goal to add new people to your database. Now, are open houses in church the only ways to do that?
Just as you're walking through life.
What do you mean, as you're walking through life?
Going to the grocery store, picking up the dry cleaning, blah, 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 the plumber who comes to do your,
Everything.
yeah.
The reason we put them in the database is so that we can communicate to them systematically. That's the key, is the system, because none of us can remember every person in our 372 person database to go, oh yeah, I should call them this week. Oh yeah, I should talk to them. It's been a while since we've talked. You're not going to remember. Our brains, not good storage. That is not their purpose. Your purpose of your brain is to think, not to store information. That's why you use the CRM, to put that information in, and then you're going to follow some of the things you're going to learn today in class to be able to communicate to that whole group in a systematic way. I see a comment in the chat. Yes, walking your dog. I love, if you can integrate your life and your business together, It doesn't feel like work. That is what I love here at the laundromat, at the walking your dog, at the dog park. So many places that you'll see people where you have to have a way to capture their information. Once you do that, we put them into the database, we run the play, and you're gonna start growing your business. And so with that in mind, let's take a quick look at some of the resources that I've shown you earlier. When you scan that code or you go to the link that I'm gonna send you or in the Zoom chat, you're gonna see this pull up right here. Now these three right here, they're just your student guide. Nothing fancy about the first links. All the juice is in the build your database resources. And let's go through some of those. First, we have our DTD2. Is anybody familiar with DTD2?
Yep.
These ladies are. You gave me a face that told me, sounds like I'm speaking code. DTD2 is this right up here, where this looks really intimidating, but all it is a schedule to know who you're calling when. And it works very simple. This is the week of March 10th. We'll do this on Zoom too. This is the week of March 10th, telling us that we are going to call the P&L list. Those letters represent the first letter of the last name of the contact. So this week, you should be calling everybody with last name starting with the letter P and everyone with last name starting with the letter L. Then the next week, you're going to call everybody with last name starting with the letter T and the letter J. And the next week, and the next week, and you'll see it repeats every quarter. So you end up calling them 4 times per year. Now that can be kind of cumbersome to get all of that set up, but you'll see the same schedule that you just saw is in the resource folder as the PDF. And then if you open up the DTD2 video links, you'll see there are a few ways to help you do this inside of Command, inside of any CRM really, but those links next to it are short 10-minute videos on how to do it inside of Command. So if you're setting up your database, these are the first videos you're going to want to watch to make sure that you're tagging your people with the DTD2 tags, which makes it so much easier to then actually make those phone calls. And that's where you get to step 3, where you see method 1 and method 2, 2 different ways to set up your database so that you know who you're calling each week. I am the bigger fan of method, oh shoot, I don't remember which one is which now. I'll just tell you, it's the one where you're using smart views. That is the one that I recommend for newer agents and anyone newer to the DTD2 process. If you've been doing it for a long time, the method with the smart plans is great, but smart views are really easy and a great way to set up your database. Now, once we get out of the DTD2 stuff, this is really where I love all this. And just like Kathleen was mentioning, your plumber, your hairdresser, your whoever, I've added in this file that's called the memory jogger. This is great for anybody building out their database that doesn't have those people that we're mentioning in their phone. And this is 150 questions to ask you about who do you know. Now, with this, you are not going to have an answer for all 150 questions. That is not the intention of this. The intention is to get your brain turning in the direction of saying, who do I know? Who do I know? Who are your hobby friends? Who do you know from church? Who do you participate with in fantasy sports? Or your fantasy football league? Do you have everybody in there in your database? But go through these questions and put down the answers that you do have, because this is going to start building out your database. Now, after that, we have the whole contacts playbook where we're going to be walking through a lot of this. But if you want to go through the steps of how to build a database and you want them written down, you will look for the contact playbook. And like I said, you're going to see some of this. You might even notice that some of the stuff on our student packet is just from here. Just the same stuff right from this entire PDF that I've shared with y'all that you now all have access to. After the contacts playbook, I've given you a sample spreadsheet to help you build your database, because in that contacts playbook, I don't want you just taking everybody from your phone and putting them into Command. That usually ends up in a bad place, a mess, because our phones generally, we don't really keep clean. I know for me, I got last names that are emojis. I got last names that are the bar that I met that girl at. There's all kinds of stuff in there that my database doesn't want that in there. So we put it into a spreadsheet first, and this is a spreadsheet you can make a copy of so that you can just utilize this. And this is built so that it's gonna help you find business with asking this question, real estate plan for the next year. And it also shows you all of the different must-have categories of the information we want from people. So this is just an easy way. You can delete out everything in there except for the column headers and then use it yourself, or just create your own spreadsheet using this as a guide.
And you download your phone information into that?
You would download your phone information into the spreadsheet, or you would download your phone into a spreadsheet. You would make that new one, like I've shared with you, and then you copy and paste everybody into that new spreadsheet so that you can go through and start cleaning it all up. We have some additional videos for some simple database actions: archiving and deleting contacts, segmenting your database with tags, finding missing data, identifying and merging duplicates in Command, and moving contacts from your phone, because there is a way to move contacts right from your phone to Command. It is an option. Or you can import a spreadsheet into Command, and you see that there's videos and instructional articles, on every one of those steps. And we're gonna go through some of this. This is just giving you an outline of what's in the resource file. I put in a page in here to help you with tags. Tags are our organizations, and I've added in all kinds of different tag options for you to consider. It is your database, and how you organize it is up to you, but I've given you a little bit of help here with showing you the most common tags that I see in databases. I've also provided where to find new contacts. What's on top of the list? Open houses, additional, networking events, referrals, direct mail campaigns, cold calling, print advertising, social media, online lead generation tools, email marketing, website and blogging, community events, educational involvement, business to business. You can see I have shared with you all kinds of methods that I've seen agents utilize to grow their database to find more people. And that is all given to you in the resource. And the last thing that you see in here is I've given you some dialogues, some conversations to help you fill in the information that might be missing to make some of those phone calls. I've given you a script for birthday cards, the Ford dialogue, and how the very simple script that I use for getting emails from people from running events. All of that is included in the resource file. I've even given you some text messages that you can utilize if you're more of a texter and not a phone caller. Here's some great text messages that we've used successfully to get some of the information about our contacts. Because that's where we're going next, y'all, is once we have our number, our target number, I gotta find my presentation again. There it is. Once we have our target number, which we all should have now of how many people we need to add to our database, then we need to start considering, where do we find new contacts? Oh, that's not. We already talked about this, so I got ahead of myself. I'm sorry, y'all. Feed it every day. So adding contacts, we already kind of talked about this. Where do we find new contacts? Family, friends, memory jogger. We just showed you the memory jogger. Your cell phone, associations that you're a part of. If you do volunteer work, there are people you know from that work that you can add to your database. If your kids are in schools, you're going to meet other parents. If they're in faith organizations, which is my generalized way to say church is one example of a faith organization, you may be part of a different religion that doesn't call it a church. And that's still a great place to get contacts from. If you're at the synagogue, if you're at temple, if you're at wherever you are worshiping, that's a great place to build relationships with people and get their information. And then, of course, we have some traditional ones, expired and FSBOs, calling the expired list, the FSBO list, circle prospecting, door knocking, open houses, local businesses, all great ways to grow your database to find more people. My suggestion here is do not overdo it. Pick one or two. Pick one or two that you're going to focus on and go after it. Trying to do all of this, you'll probably never really get anywhere because you're not fully committed to any of these different strategies to find new people. Question?
I don't know if it's a good question, but what is circle prospecting? Does that mean when you've like done a deal with the Jones family and then you circle back to them and ask them who they know?
Not quite. So let me repeat your question just to make sure everybody on Zoom hears it. So Rachel asked, what exactly is circle prospecting? And I will be honest, it took me 4 years to know what that meant when people said it. Right? I've been an agent now for 7 years and I was like, sure, circle prospecting. It's very simple. You're close. When you sell a home, you then draw a circle around that home on a map. And then you go door knock, call, send letters to, send postcards to all the homes within that circle around that house. However big the circle is up to you, whether that's, it might just be the 10 homes in every direction. It might be 1 mile in every direction that you're pulling homes in, but that's all circle prospecting is drawing a circle around some target audience, where it could be a sold home. It could just be your home. If you wanted to start your farm in your neighborhood, and then you're just going in that circle and going after all of those people. Does that help with circle prospecting? Great question. Great question. Any other questions about feeding the database every day?
I can figure this out by Googling it, but local businesses, so are you gonna be walking into an insurance company? Is that essentially what you're?
Insurance company would be a great example because when people make insurance changes, they might be considering a move, right? Because you're looking for somebody who you can, when I say local businesses, you're looking for a relationship with a business owner that it makes sense for you to recommend your people to them, and it makes sense for them to recommend their people to you. So when they hear about somebody moving, they go, oh, you gotta call Rachel. She is my real estate agent. She's wonderful. You gotta meet with her. Let me get your information and I'll send it over to her right now. And then you do the same thing in return. When somebody's looking for that window washer, they need somebody to wash their windows, you have your recommended person and you work with those local businesses to create that relationship, that referral relationship between each other. Does that make a little bit more sense than just local business? But insurance, dog washer, window washer, any service that people in your database are gonna need are the ones that you want to create relationships with. Great questions, again. I love having new agents in the class. Thank you for being brave and asking the questions, because I know it's not always easy to be the new one in the room. All right, so a quick recap of what we've talked about today, because we've gotten a lot of information figured out about your business for this year. We've figured out how many closings you need to do this year to meet your GCI goal. We figured out how many contacts you need in your database to reach that GCI goal. We've talked about where to find new people. And then now we need to figure out your database. We need to build that database. And we had some of those initial resources that I showed you that you're gonna see show up here again. But you'll also notice that the explosion is on the screen. Oh, it's kind of blocked for the people in the room. Get that out of the way. No, don't go there. But the explosion is on the screen. Still won't move it up there. That explosion tells you this is something to write down as the next step. After this class, you need to begin building your database, which is taking that example spreadsheet that I showed you before, or it's taking your phone and getting people into that spreadsheet so that you can start cleaning and organizing. The first step is always clean, which I mean, if you download your phone to a spreadsheet, you're deleting out all the people that you don't want in your database. Now, I recommend deleting as little people as possible. I often hear, well, if they're in a different state, should they be in my CRM? Should they be in my database? Yes. If they're another agent, should they be in my database? Yes. If I have a husband and wife, should I put both of them in? Yes.
I have a question on that, but not right now.
The only people that I would tell you to take out of your database are people you would never do business with. Never. The excuse of, well, I haven't talked to them in 10 years, not an excuse. They still go in because it's now your job to call them and say, I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. I won't let it happen again. How have you been? And it's that simple. You don't have to overthink that conversation. What are they going to say to me? I haven't talked to them in 10 years. They're probably mad at me. Get out of your head. Just make the call. The only people that you take out are ones that are like, no, I would never do business with that person. We ended the relationship really poorly. I don't even want to talk to them ever again. Yes, that's the person you take out. That's it. Anyone else? Leave them in there. Question. Maybe Kathleen will prove me wrong here.
There's a phrase I would, what you think of me is none of my business.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. What you think of me is none of my business. Absolutely. Did you have a question too? We just wanted to share that. Okay, I love that. So your next action step after this class, first step is to begin building your database. And that starts in a spreadsheet. And I know that's intimidating if you're hearing me go, oh, just pull your spreadsheet from your phone and you're like, I have no idea how to do that. That's when you schedule a one-on-one with me so we can do it together. We can get your people out of your phone into a spreadsheet so that you can start cleaning that list up. Remove the people who don't belong. Because after you clean it, you're going to organize it. This is the work of building a database, is organizing your database. And I give you the advice that is the answer to the question on the screen. How do you eat an elephant? What's the saying go? How do we eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. You attack your database in the same way. If you're looking at a list of 600 people from your phone and you're going, oh my gosh, I have to organize all these people. Yes, you do. But if you try and go at it 600 contacts at a time, you'll probably be too intimidated and you will never start. So don't do that. Take it one bite at a time. Make a goal. I'm going to add 10 people to, or I'm going to organize 10 people a day. Because 10 people a day is 50 a week. 50 a week turns into 200 a month. And within a quarter, your database is ready to go. And it's okay if it's going to take that long. Because you'll see that we're going to integrate in some connections with people to help you find business through this process. Because if you only consider this an administrative task where you're sitting down and organizing 600 contacts, again, you're probably going to be like, I got better stuff to do. I need a check. This doesn't feel like it's getting me a check soon, so I'm going to go do the thing that gets me the check soon. This will give you the check soon. You have to go about it the right way. Organizing is the first step. Use that tag sheet that I gave you in the resource guide. All of those tags start simple. I'll give you my 3 tags that you need to start with. Sphere of influence tag, VIP tag, the DTD2 tags, which is just the first letter of their last name. Those 3 tags are the simplest and easiest organizational structure to start with. You can add in details and customizations. Use my list to help, whether it's location tags. I have a list of family tags in there. What else do I have listed in that? In there, location, family tags, interest tags. All of those will help you, but here's the bottom line with organizing. The labels and tags that you use should help you communicate to those groups. You always want to think about communication. So for instance, I have a tag in my database that is called has kids. Simple tag, right? Do you all understand what that tag tells me about that person? Simple, they have kids. I have that tag because through the year, we run events. Some of our events are happy hours. Some of our events are pumpkin patch events. Who am I inviting to the happy hours?
Not the kids.
The no kids tags people. Because when we hold a happy hour at 3 p.m, people who have kids aren't coming. They don't get any value from them wishing they could be there and I invited them. That's not valuable to them. But the people who don't have kids, those are the ones that respond, that show up, that are there. So we invite them. Those are the ones where maybe we'll invite the whole database through an email. Right, I'll invite them if you have kids or not, see if maybe kids are off that day or maybe it's not your day as the parent to pick them up. But when it comes to my calls, I'm not calling the people with kids for that event. I'm only calling the people who don't have kids to make my life a little bit easier. So in that example, do you hear how I'm using the tag to help me with my communications? Making my communications easier, more efficient. Has kids, no kids is just one example. SOI and VIP, those are obvious ones. That your sphere of influence, that should be the list that gets your newsletter every month. That should be the list that you go after first with getting their addresses, getting their birthdays. Those are the most important people because this is a relationship business, as we've mentioned, and you already have relationships with your SOI, your sphere of influence. So instead of having to build the relationship, you're only having to maintain the relationship with your SOI, which makes it a little bit easier. Because all of us, when we meet new people, we have to build a relationship, and usually it's twofold. We have to build the social side of the relationship. They have to like us. Then we have to build the professional side of the relationship. We have to get them to see us as the real estate agent of choice. That's the difficulty. But your sphere, most of them already like you. You're not bridging the gap of the social, hey, let's just get to know each other. You only have to bridge the professional gap, which is smaller than having to do both. And so start with your SOI. That's why that tag of saying, who is my sphere of influence? Who are people who know who I am? That's all my sphere of influence is. Who are people who know who I am? Where if I called them, they could say, hey, Stephen, when I called them. They're not going, who is this? Because if somebody's answering the phone, who is this? They're not in my sphere. For me. You might be different, but most likely it'll follow the same rules. So build, organize, chunk it down. Do not try and attack your whole database at once. Do a certain amount of contacts per day, per week, per month, whatever works for your schedule. If you're a dual agent, it might not be 10 people a day. It might be 2 people a day. That's okay. It might be 10 people a week that you're going after. It is up to you, but I'm telling you, don't try and do it all at once. Not enough wine in the world for me to sit down and edit 600 contacts and organize. Nope.
Is there an H in that one?
All right. So we build our database, organize. Those should be your first 2 steps outside of this class. We've talked about the tag, sphere of influence, VIP number 1, DTD2. That's just the single letter and the group tag. So remember DTD2 is this system right here. Oh, one more page back. Where I'm literally just tagging Stephen Delisio would get the D tag by itself, just the letter D. And then I'd also get the D and O tag. So a separate tag there. And let me show you what that looks like. So here, Frodo Baggins. Oh, of course it's booting me out. Frodo Baggins gets the B and E tag and the single letter B tag. We don't have the single letter on there because I'm going to show you all how to add a tag here in just a moment with that. Other things to consider for my experienced agents, a past client tag is so important to have. When you want to run that appreciation event, when you want to run the giveaway that only is for your past clients, having a tag where you can just go command, filter everyone with the past client tag, and then there they are. You're not having to scroll through a list of 600 people going, did they close? Did they sell a home to me? Who is that? No, you add the tag. I also suggest a closed and then the year, like closed 2020. Because if somebody closed in 2019, it's a different conversation than somebody closed in 2024. Somebody in 2019, we get to have a fun equity conversation. 2024, they're going to be asking me about their taxes and their insurance and why it's gone up. But I can easily predict where that conversation is going to go when I call them on their home anniversary, when I call, or if I want to send out a little text message to everybody who bought in 2019 going, would you like an equity analysis? Every tag helps me communicate to those groups more efficiently. Not met is a great tag. Those are the people that you get information for, but you never get the opportunity to build a relationship, to even begin to build the relationship. And not met, there is a whole system in the MREA book that is called the 12 direct. 12 direct. Basically it says for all the people you haven't met, send them a mailer every month until when you call them, they answer. Now, that is no longer what we teach at KW. We now teach the 19 to connect, which is only like 4 direct mail pieces, which I love because direct mail is what costs money. So going from 12 to 4 is nice, and it replaces some of those with emails and phone calls. The 19 to connect is 12 emails, 4 phone calls. That's 16 plus 3, birthday card, home anniversary card if they have a home. And then an event invite. That's what it is. One event with those people. Build and organize. And so let's do a little demo. How we add tags to people. There's 3 ways that I want you to know how to add tags to people. Individually, in bulk, and through an import. Those 3 ways are the ways that you're going to tag to add this organization. So let's start with our friend Frodo. Obviously, Frodo is a fake contact. I'm not saying that to y'all. I'm telling that to YouTube so that they will stop deleting my videos off of the channels. Yeah, because when you put in real people's information, that is harassment. So I get where they're coming from, but none of these people are real. YouTube, please keep my videos up. So Frodo Baggins, we're gonna add SOI and we're gonna add the single letter tag because I already have the group tag B&E. And all you have to do is click this pencil right here at the top center of the screen. The pencil is the universal edit button in Command. So if you want to make a change when you're doing something in Command, look for a pencil. It's probably going to be the button you click on. No different here. Come down to the tag section. It's very simple to add a tag. Start typing the tag you want to add. This one is just the letter B. Now, if you are working with a brand new Command account, you're not going to have the letter B as a tag. You're going to have to add that tag, and it's very simple. You can see I already have the letter B in here, so I'm just going to make a quick adjustment. We're going to do B asterisk. And you can see I don't have a B asterisk tag. And so when you want to add a new tag, you just type it in, and if it doesn't show up, you hit create as new. Choose your color, create the tag. And now Frodo has the B tag. Let's add the SOI in as well. SOI. So I start typing it.
So comma, is there a comma there?
No comma needed here. You just type the tag,
Okay.
select it, and it'll just list them out, no commas needed. Here again, you see I have the SOI tag already built, so I can just check it off, and it adds that tag, and I hit save. So one contact at a time. It's very simple, but it takes forever. All right, this if you go one at a time, this is where, like, if you're a part-time agent or you have a smaller list, this works really well. But there is a more efficient way, and we can do this in bulk. So now, if I wanted to add that B tag to everyone with the last name starting with B, you see we have Frodo and Tweety and Charlie and Buster and Lola and Bob, Babs, that's who it is. So if I just go through and check the box next to all those people, whoever has last name starting with B, instead of going one by one, I can now just check those check marks, come up to the actions menu. This is the most powerful menu in Command. It does so much cool stuff. Learning, main tool right here, because when I click on actions, look at all the different things I can do in bulk. For whoever I select, I can do anything in this list with. For everyone in the list instead of one at a time. And here, what are we going to go to add a tag? Add tag. That's simple. And then now we just come in and same thing. We find our tag. Here's our B tag. We hit submit. And then now it'll take just a moment and then our screen will refresh. Boom. And now you see all of those people now have the B tag. That is tagging in bulk. That is what I recommend you do. Now, if you're a brand new agent, not brand new, if you're brand new to building a database and you're like, Steven, I don't got anybody in Command to do this with. Perfect. Not a problem at all. In fact, you're in a better place. Because if you already have people in Command, probably means they're a little messy and you're going to spend some time cleaning up in Command. But if you're working in the spreadsheet, like I've recommended, and you come in here to that example spreadsheet, we're gonna zoom in to this section here. You see I have a tags column, and you'll read right there, tags, separate each tag by a comma and a space. This is where the commas come in. Is when you are trying to import in this list. So if I was importing in this database, these were real people. Let's pretend for a moment. Those are all real people. And I wanted to put these tags on here because they all have last name starting with L. See, last L. So they're going to get the L tag and they're going to get the P and L tag. To make these different, you just separate them by a comma and a space. And so now when I import this list, those tags will be on them when they go into command. And all you have to do is just have this right here, a tags column with each tag separated by a comma and a space. And so you see the first contact that I have up there has a little bit more just to show you the full, what I would expect to see in your database. So when you're going through and I tell you, you need to organize your spreadsheet, this is what you're doing. Is you're going through your whole list of everybody in your phone and going, all right, we're gonna put their name in, Stephen Delicio into my spreadsheet. We're going to put in the letter tag, D. We're gonna put the tag from the full list, D, so D is, which one is D? Which one is D? There it is, D and O. Then we're gonna list that, D and O, comma, space, SOI, comma, space, VIP, comma, space, past client, and you go through, you organize these. This is what I mean by organizing your database in the spreadsheet. Now if you're just new to this, like I said, I only want you worrying about DTD2, SOI, VIP. This would be done. This contact would be done organizing if I listed D, D and O, SOI, VIP. That person's special to me. Because it's me. Adding in their email address, phone number, birthday, home address. The more of this information you have, the better. Any questions about tagging our contacts?
Where does that blank starter sheet come from?
It is in the resource file. So in here, you'll see in this one, it is called the 2A blank starter spreadsheet. So if you want that template that I've been kind of working in and showing you, grab that. The one thing I ask you to do is when you open this, just come up to File, and this is a great note to take for my note takers. Go to File, make a copy. Because if you start editing mine, it's going to edit this one for my classes, and everybody's going to see all that. So make sure, File, make a copy. File, make a copy. And then you'll have your own, that if you change it, only you can see that.
One question I have is when you have a husband and wife,
Uh-huh.
how do you put the wife's number separate from the husband's number, and can you tag them separately?
Great question. Something we all deal with. And the answer is simple. They need to have their own contact each. They should not be in one contact together. Command wants one person, one contact.
So if you want to send a letter to both couples.
Great catch there. So inside of command, you can set a relationship status between two people.
Right.
So you'd have husband, you'd have wife, you would set both of those in the relationship status, which just to show you all that, we're not going to get too deep into it, but to show you that, if I click on Frodo again and click on the pencil, you'll see right below his name, you read add relationship. Then I find, I don't know if I have Sam in here. Oh, there he is, relationship, Sam Wise. And then I can choose the relationship type. That's the first step. The second step is you have to make sure that their mailing addresses inside of command match. Because when command sees that they are a relationship tie and their mailing addresses are the same, it will know to send just one. If you print your mailing labels, it will combine them into the same mailing label so that you're not duplicating, sending them two cards or having two different mailing labels that are separate. It'll pull them into one instead of two.
Even though they're two contacts.
Correct. But those things have to be there. Relationship status, connected, and mailing addresses match. Not physical addresses, mailing addresses, which is in the additional contact information is their primary. And you can see there is a nice button that you can just hit. Their primary address is same as mailing, so that you don't have to type it in twice. You see that there's that radial button there. Fiction city. Yes, one more reminder, these are fake addresses. None of this is real people. Fiction city is not a real place. All right. Oh, okay. It's not, how we doing? Not too overwhelming. Hopefully today's been pretty digestible so far. I'm hoping. We got more to get into. But before we go any farther, let me talk about my class next Thursday. Next Thursday, March, I wish I knew the date off the top of my head, March 20th. No, a week from Thursday. Next Thursday, did I say Tuesday? Next Thursday, KW Command Postcard Pro, elevate your direct mail outreach. We're going to be going over the direct mail tool inside of Command. And I'll just tell you up front, I have not found a single other third party that can do it for cheaper than what Command does it for. You're talking $1 a card in most situations for a 6x9 card. So a good size, you can do a 4x6 for even less. It's like 77 cents, and y'all, this is printed, stamped, and mailed for you. Stamps right now are 74 cents.
Yeah.
The 4x6s are 77 cents to send. No one has it this inexpensive. It's not the highest quality. Like, I don't send the postcards through Command to my VIP list. They get the nice stuff. That's why they're in the VIP list, because it helps me communicate to that group specifically. But the rest of them, birthday cards, postcards for events, all of that, I use Command because it's inexpensive and it gets me what I need and it's simple. So come to the class. You can scan the QR code up there on the screen to register now. It will be recorded and put onto the YouTube channel as well, so you can catch it later. But it's going to be a great class, 1 hour, 11 to 12, a great class to learn about the Command direct mail tool that you all have access to. It is an incredible, incredible value to your business. Yep. All right. Another recap, a little faster this time. Know your numbers. It's where we started the class today, figuring out where are your targets, how many people do you need to add to your database to meet your goal. Then the next step is you're going to build it out. You're going to build your database in the spreadsheet or in Command. You're going to ask for help when you need it from me. We're going to sit down for 30 minutes, for 60 minutes. If you're in one of my market centers, if you're not, good luck. Just kidding. Send me an email. We can talk about solutions for you. And then last, take it one piece at a time. Do not try and sit down and say, I'm going to get my database done today. It takes hours, y'all. Dozens of hours.
It's taken me a year.
And it's honestly okay
And it's
to take time.
Constantly.
And it takes constant work. Even once you get your database into a good spot, it's not done. Because the next phase is where we start making money from our database. Because after we've done this, after we built it, and we're going after it one piece at a time, we've organized it. Now it comes to the point, we've built our database as the first step, and now it's time to make money. And in real estate, the very first thing that you have to do to have even the chance of making money is talk to someone. That is where it starts. And that is the next step in this process, because so many of us, when we upload our database from our phone, from some other business, we're like, yeah, we have lots of names, lots of phone numbers, maybe a couple of emails, no addresses, no birthdays, no home anniversaries. And we need to go find that information, because your database quantity, how many, is important. What's more important is the quality of the information you have about them. Because like I mentioned before, a phone number only gives us 2 avenues to communicate: calls, texts. And some people don't like one of the 2. Or both. They don't want you to call them, to text them about business stuff. They're like, send that to my email. Well, I don't have your email. What is it? You got to ask. You got to get their information, and there is many ways to get their information. After you fill the holes, that's when we can upload your database to Command, your spreadsheet to Command. If you already have them in Command, that's fine. There also is a really great duplicate checker tool, which will go through your whole database and tell you anybody who looks like they might be a duplicate. It'll look for similar phone numbers, similar names, and then it has a tool that you can just merge them together. If you find two people where you're like, oh, John Smith, and then I have john@smith.com, and then I have the other one is John Smith and it's smith@john.com, but they're the same person, Command will merge them together, one name, add both emails in, add all the tags from both contacts into one, and it merges them together to clean it up. So that's closer to your last step of getting your database into Command. But before you do that, we have to fill the holes. And I suggest doing this in the spreadsheet and be focused on quality over quantity. I'd rather have all 5 must-have pieces of information about 100 contacts in your SOI than having name and phone number for 300 contacts. It is much more valuable to have more information about each individual. And there are 5 must-haves. This is a great thing to write down if you don't know the 5 must-haves. Number 1, name. That's one we usually have for people. If they're in our database, we know their name. 2, phone number. 3, address, their current address to be specific. 4, email. 5,
Anniversary or birthday.
birthday. Not everybody has an anniversary. Nearly everyone has a birthday that they celebrate. There are some people who don't celebrate a birthday, and so I want to be respectful to them. Those people, few and far between in Colorado, but you go over to Utah and not many people celebrate birthdays. So just be aware, be culturally aware for those people that they might, I don't know anybody anymore. I grew up with one kid who was like, no, we're this and we don't celebrate any holidays at all. And so just be aware, there's some folks out there, but most people, they celebrate their birthday. That's awesome because it's the only day that's about them, to them. It's a great opportunity for you to solidify your relationship with them by sending a card and making a call, saying happy birthday. And there's a system in Command that will remind you to give them the card. It'll remind you to call them, and it will send them a text message on their birthday as well, without you having to do anything but turn it on. So those 5 things give you the best opportunity to communicate with value. It's not just random stuff that I picked. Those 5 things give you the best opportunity and the best opportunity for automation in Command. And you need to find that information. And Command can help. Once we import them into the database, or if you're just working off of your spreadsheet, this is a little different, but I wanted to show you one of my favorite tools inside of reports. Y'all might know that I'm a former math teacher, so I love numbers, I love reports. And this is a great section to show you, as soon as I scroll down just a little bit, my database health, which tells me what percentage of that information I have. And you see the 5 must-haves. Name is not included in here because you can't add somebody to Command without their name. So phone number, email, home address. If you have their home address, it should set the neighborhood for you. That's why you see these are pretty close to each other. Home anniversary if they have one, birthdays if they have one. Now, you should be thinking, well, Stephen, that's great. I can see the percentages, but how do I find the people who are missing that information? And it's very simple. Let me show you. We come up to contacts, we go to filters, and now we're going to use the advanced filter. This is advanced stuff, I know, but you'll see it's pretty easy. In advanced, when you open up the filter, you just find it right up here in the top corner. Now, I have Command filtering just my example contacts. That's why you see that first filter in there. Tags includes any example contacts. Yours will not say that because you're going to probably be looking at your whole database. But if I want to find who does not have an address, I'm going to hit add filter. Then I'm going to type in the word primary into this search. Because then it'll give me those 3 options: primary address, primary email, primary phone. And then I just go, okay, so we're looking for addresses. And then here's the key. Contains, we're gonna switch to is empty. So anyone whose primary address is empty will show up in my list. And those are the people that I'm gonna call, I'm gonna text to ask for their address.
I'm gonna go on Real List, see if they still live there.
I love that. I hope everybody heard what Kathleen said, because you don't have to call for the address. We have a tool called Realist inside of your MLS subscription that basically is like a property record search that you can pull up an address or you can type in a name and it'll tell you
Moved or not.
if there is a person that is connected to that, or is there an address connected to that name? Now, I'm a bigger fan of having the conversation with people. You can pull data from Facebook, you can get birthdays from Facebook, you can get addresses from Realist. But you're losing the opportunity to have a conversation with them. And this business is about conversations. That's where deals start. At the very beginning, it all goes back to a conversation about real estate. Address, email, I've added in some conversation dialogues in the resource guide that are how you can get the address. Birthday script is my favorite one to get addresses. And it's very simple. You call them, have a little combo, break the ice, and then you go, hey, reason for my call today is I want to know if I can send you a birthday card this year. And who's gonna say no to that?
Well, don't bother, I don't care.
Kathleen, I want you to be celebrated on your special day. Would you mind if I sent you the card?
Oh, sure, Steve.
That's the worst answer you'll get is sure. Sure, like a confused sure or a whatever, fine.
Whatever.
But now I get to go, Kathleen, thank you. Where's the best place to send the card? And that's how I very gracefully get their address instead of
An address.
birthday and address, because then I go, oh my gosh, Kathleen, what month and day is your birthday? And it sounds kind of weird to ask it that way. Do y'all know why I ask it that way?
Because you're not asking for a year.
I'm not asking for the year, because that is where people will double down and go, I'm not telling you my birthday, because they think
You should preface it that way.
well, that's why I ask, what month and day is your birthday? And you can find different ways to ask that. You can say, when is your birthday? Don't worry, you don't have to tell me the year. You can, but we don't need the year in Command. So I don't ask for it, or just know that you don't need that information, because people will not share it because they don't want to tell you the year they were born. And I understand that. I lie to people all the time. I'm like, yeah, I was born in 1998.
Your date of birth is now as equivalent as your social.
Is it? Oh, great.
You don't want to put anything like that on social media, like the year you're born. You
Yeah,
also to be cognizant or have, identity
gotta be,
identity
gotta be.
protection.
So that's how we find, and same thing, it works the same way. We hit apply, you're gonna see that none of my contacts don't have addresses because they all have the fake ones in there. But that's why you see it that way, but that's all you have to do, because then when I get that list of people, that's your call list for the week, right? Or you break it down, if you have 100 people, you might go, I'm gonna call 10 of my missing addresses this week, and I'm gonna call 10 missing emails. And some of those people might be the same. I have a dialogue in there for emails as well. I really like using events. And just to mention events for data, y'all, that's why I run events. Because instead of me having to call all these people, all I do is send them the invitation for the event or giveaway. And it's gotta be a good one, good event, good giveaway that people wanna go to. And then they have to fill out a form. And that form asks them birthday, address, has a bunch more questions like, when do you think you might make your next move? Are you interested in the value of your home, land, or commercial property? Do you want any of these additional, or are you interested in any of these additional items, which will be like my next 2 events, my newsletter, and like the smart home buyer class. And I'll have them check off what they're interested in to help me follow up with them. Now, if you want more information about events, I have a great class on my YouTube channel for my agents inside my market centers. Just send me an email and I have a whole system checklist of how to run events, gives you an example of that form so that you can copy it and use it for your own events. It has AI scripts to build out all of your communications from social media to emails to text messages. I got y'all. If you want to run a high level event, I've brought over 800 people to the zoo. I've had over 500 people at a baseball game. We've run really high level events running the system that I will share with you. If you're not in my market center, you will have to utilize the information on YouTube for now, or reach out to me and we can maybe find something that works for you. So we mentioned a couple of these conversations up here to get that information. We mentioned the birthday combo. Events, we mentioned that one as well. Great way, giveaways, another great way to collect information in bulk. So now I've gotten 20 people's addresses by inviting them to an event. I think I just launched my next event for the team I work with. We're doing an Easter event. Within the first day, we had 20 people sign up. And it's just, you get an Easter basket and you get a picture with the Easter bunny, 20 people's addresses, them saying if they're interested in moving, interested in selling, what next events they want. I just get a ton of data. That's why I run the event and giveaway. Do I care about the Easter bunny? No, not the least bit. Do I care about the conversations and the data that I get from being able to run the Easter bunny event? That's why you run events and giveaways. And the last one should be obvious, but it definitely seems to be missed quite a bit, especially when you are working with your SOI, your sphere of influence. Just ask them.
That's what I've been doing.
If they like you, they will just tell you. You call them and go, hey, I'm updating my database. I don't have your address. Where's the best place to get a piece of mail to you? What's the best email to get the invitation to? Just ask. Now, if you don't know them that well, you've met twice at a couple parties, they're your neighbor that you only talk to once a year, those are the people you have to be a little bit more strategic with. You're probably not going to just, not your neighbor, because you know their address if they're your neighbor, right? Just look at their house. But for other people that you don't have a well-established relationship, you'll want to use one of these other strategies. But for a lot of people, for my agents that are new to building a database, just ask. So many people in your database, you will be surprised that they'll just rattle it off for you because they like and trust you already. And that's a great sign. That's a great sign that if you stay in communication with them, they're going to use you as their agent. And so use the birthday combo. I have the full dialogue in the resource guide, the event and giveaways. Let me know if you need any help with that or if you want the full system for my agents here. And then simply just ask. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. All right, let's pause for questions. Any questions about filling the database holes, which is getting those 5 pieces of must-have information? What questions do we have about filling the holes? None on Zoom? You can unmute, you can use the chat. We're going to bring this home here in just a minute. So recap, since we don't have any questions, we know how many people need to be in our database. We know how we're going to find those people. We're going to organize them into a spreadsheet and build our database, organize our database with tags, fill the holes of the information that's missing. That is the process to building a database. And all of this is so that we can communicate to this group of people at a systematic high level. And the level that I suggest you start with is 36 touches per year. The 36 touch system comes right out of the MREA, but just like the 12 direct used to be 12 direct, now it's 19 to connect. It used to be called the 33 touch. Now it's the 36 touch. And it's very basic. And if you're an agent in my market center, we make this so easy for you. There's no excuse to not do it, because here's the thing. The 4 phone calls is the only thing that we can't help you with. We can't make the calls for you. We're not you, so we can't be you. But then 12 monthly neighborhood nurture emails. That's an automatic email done through Command that all you have to do is have their address and have their email and turn it on. And then every month they receive an awesome email about all of the stats that's happening in their neighborhood, average list price, average sold price, average days on market. And all of the listings in their neighborhood automatically. Every month, you don't have to do anything but turn it on. It updates on its own. They move and you change their address, it updates it on its own. Awesome tool. And that's everybody at KW has access to that uses Command. If you don't use Command in your KW, it's a great way to use dual CRMs. I work with a lot of top agents that use a different CRM and they use Command just for that email because no other CRM does that email that I know of. 12 email newsletters. So that's one monthly neighborhood nurture per month, one email newsletter. You go, oh my gosh, Stephen, I don't know what to put in a newsletter. Well, don't worry, y'all, I got you. Well, not so much but our marketing director builds a newsletter email for you every month. Current updated events, real estate news, what's happening locally, all of that gets put in there. They build it out. All you have to do is send it. And this is a great time to plug my engagement engine class. At this market center, the last Monday of every month, we sit in this room for 1 hour and we do that together. We download the plan from our marketing director and we send it out to our database. We do it together so that you have me here, you do that, you set up your emails for the month, and then you come back the next month and do it with us again, the next month and the next month until you're comfortable enough to do it on your own. I'll tell you, it takes me 5 minutes to do the monthly neighborhood nurture, the 12 email newsletters. It takes me 5 minutes a month. Might take you 30 to start. You'll get to the point where you're fast, but I've just done it hundreds of times now. So I'm really quick. You will get there and we have that class to support you. One birthday card. I mentioned the direct mail class next week. When we do the engagement engine class at the end of the month, we always talk about the cards as well. So we'll have time to send the cards out. One home anniversary or other. Why do I have or other?
No,
I rent.
Exactly. They may not own a home. What else could I send them? Not a birthday card, but what other thing could I send them?
Christmas card.
Holiday cards. Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. Holiday cards. Awesome. What else?
Personal note.
Yeah, simple, right? I didn't put this in the guides or the resources, but this is a great personal note to send that, it's not 100% true, but they won't know it. But I just write a little personal note. This is great to just get a stack of cards from Amazon, simple, handwrite it. And all it says is, Kathleen, I was showing a home in your neighborhood and thought of you, Stephen. Or hope all is well, Stephen. Because why do I put that little showing a home in your neighborhood? Why am I doing that?
I know you're out there.
They know what I do. I'm reminding them that I'm still an agent, really gently. Not going, because some agents will put, hey, thought of you, Stephen, and then they slip their business card in there. And I'm like, I know y'all probably receive direct mail like that, and you just go, great, dump that out. Maybe keep the card, but most likely tossing that too. But when I make it nice and sweet, there's no business card, showing a home in your neighborhood, thought of you, hope all is well, Stephen. That's a great card to add that touch for those people if they don't have a home anniversary. And then last, 2 events or giveaways. Events, yeah, I have a whole class on events. I love teaching those. I love helping agents build their events. My advice for you with events, start early. Do not come to me the week of your event going, Stephen, can you help me build an email campaign and my form and all this? I'm going to tell you next event I will, but you are behind. You're a month behind. My advice is to start planning any event, sit down with me 6 weeks before the event. I can help then. We can build it out so that you send out emails and text messages and they'll all be automatic, but you got to start early. And events, they're a huge part of my business. They're a huge part of a lot of agents' businesses. It's a great way to go for collecting data, giving out information, getting information. All of it is so good. All right. Now, inside the resource file, I have here, let's actually just pull up the resource file to talk about this last little bit in there. So if you come in here, you're going to see down at the very bottom, 36 touch system. Everything that I just talked about. 4 phone calls a year. Here's a video of how to set up the DTD2 tags. We already went over that in today's class, but there's a reminder video of it there. Well, Market Center newsletter emails. Here's a video of how to get those emails and send them to your database. Well, Market Center holiday emails, also in there, same thing. Birthday card, how to send a birthday card through Command. And events, how to create a registration form for an event or a giveaway. All of that is sitting right in there for you in the guide. Once again, in the resource file, just look for the 36 custom, and there it is. Has the time block on how much time I think you should spend per month doing each of those things so that you can plan it out, schedule it in your calendar, and make sure it happens. Because if you don't make time for it, it won't happen. At least that's my experience with agents. Maybe you're different. Hopefully you're different. But I'll tell you, I got to schedule time to make all this stuff happen. It does not happen on its own. And last but not least, I do offer some of these packages. So if you're like, Steven, I don't want to do that 36 touch. We have one package, very inexpensive, $100 a month. It's just emails, 36 emails a year. It's going to be the newsletter, the holiday email, and the neighborhood nurture. 36 emails a year, 3 per month. We do those all for you. We manage it for you for $100 a month. If you'd like to add in some direct mail, $250 a month. Gets you all the emails, plus we'll send up to 10 birthday cards, 10 home anniversary cards, and 50 value cards. The price of those cards is built into the monthly price. If you need more cards sent, you just add that $1 per card so that we'll do it for you. Super simple, easy. And then the max pack, $400 a month. We do over 70 touches for you. Combination of building out your website, blogs, that is the higher level. And we also have some custom options as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, looking for some of this kind of leverage, you can always reach out and we can build custom packages for you. That is a win-win for both of us. So just available for you. Send me an email at steven.delistio.com if you are interested in any of these packages or getting some leverage for your business. And so that brings us to the very last page of our guide here today. So if you are following along with me on the student guide, please turn to the very back page. You just see the 36 touch system on there. And then down at the bottom, it says action steps and deadlines. When will you have your sphere of influence in a spreadsheet? When will you have the segments, the tags completed? You will start calling segments on. Calling your people in your spreadsheet is how you will make money. Because if you go in there, oh, I forgot to mention this. Let me show y'all. Inside of, you might have noticed in our spreadsheet, there was this simple question. Let's see, 2A. Right over here. Real estate plan for next year. The reason I tell you to reach out to people to have a conversation is so you can ask this question. What is your real estate plan for the rest of the year? There's only a couple answers people are going to tell you.
Nothing.
That's your most common. They're going to go, nothing, we're not going anywhere, we love our house. And then, great,
Replace the roof.
great. And you go, do you have a roofer? Because I know how to be valuable based on that question. If they say, no, we love our home, I go, great, tell me what you love about it. Then I start taking notes, what they love about it. And I get that information. So I'm getting value. I'm creating more value for them. They tell me no, I tell them, when did you buy your home? Oh, 2010? Do you know what your equity is in that home? Oh, you don't? Would you like me to send over a little equity analysis? Right, I'm just finding a way to be valuable from this question. Now, for the people who don't say no, what else might they say? What's your real estate plan for this year?
Well, we were thinking about selling, but don't know whether we should.
Awesome.
Or we're thinking about moving to, or.
Yep. We're going to get the thinkers, the people who are considering it, which is perfect. That's somebody raising their hand right there. I go, great. Well, if you could move anywhere, where would it be? When would that happen? Because once I hear I'm thinking about it, there's 3 things I want to know. What's your motivation? Timeline? And what are you looking for? The house itself.
So 2 open-ended questions.
Yeah. So why do you want to move? Right? Oh my gosh, what makes you guys want to move? You're thinking about moving? That's great. What makes you guys want to move? Oh, wife's pregnant. We're going to have another one and we only have 2 bedrooms and we have 3 kids. We're about to have 3 kids. Now I'm taking notes right now. timeline answers itself there. Well, great. What do you think? Are you thinking before or after the little one comes? Before? Okay, that's how far along, right? Then you start building up the timeline, figuring out, well, when is this gonna happen? So that you can help them along, because if they have a child coming in 3 months, you called the right day, right? They're already behind if they're trying to sell and buy something else in this market. And they're gonna thank you for calling them that day and asking them, hey, can I get your address? Also, by the way, what's your real estate plan for the year? Now, the third thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna be confused. And they're gonna go, well, what do you mean, real estate
What
plan?
kind of plan? We
What do you
don't
mean,
have
real
a
estate
plan.
Why wouldn't they?
Think about, you add somebody to your database that's been renting for 15 years,
Okay.
right? And they're like, real estate plan? You mean I'm just gonna stay here? They'll be a little confused, and that's your opportunity to tell them why now is a good time to consider buying a home. And if they're a renter, you have an equity conversation or an appreciation conversation, or do you like, paying your landlord's mortgage, or would you rather pay your own mortgage? Again, it's just telling me how to be valuable to them. If they never bought a house, I'm gonna be like, hey, we have a home buyer class coming up. I think you should really go. Then let the lender do the heavy lifting that's doing the home buyer class. We here at Advantage, every other month, I think Patrick does a home buyer class for us that you can always pitch to them, and he does a great job. He takes them to Dave and Buster's, they get free food, free drinks, like, it's almost a no-brainer for them to not show up, but I'm not inviting the people who are like, nope, we're not moving, we love our house, kids aren't out of school for another 6 years, we're not even gonna think about it until they're out of high school. Great, perfectly understand. Then I might have an equity conversation, or because there's more that they can do with their equity than just take the money out, right? They can sell and get the money, or they could get into investments, or they could remodel their home. These are the places where we can be valuable based on this question. That's why I tell you, reach out to these people. Ask them about their information. Hey, I'm just updating my database. What's your email? What's your phone number? What's the best address to get a card to? Hey, by the way, what's your real estate plan for the year? And then let them talk. Just be quiet. But if you know what answers they're gonna give, you can plan what answers you're going to respond with based on what they said. And like I said, there's really only 3. Hard no, we're thinking about buying or selling, or they'll be confused. It's gonna be one of those 3, and it's not hard to have great answers and value backed up, ready to go for any of those situations. Easy, and take notes on all this. That's the whole reason I mentioned earlier, our brains are not good at storage, they're good at thinking. There's a place in Command to add all these notes to once you have those people in there. You add in that activity, you take notes on the call, makes it really, really easy so that when you go to make that next call, you just go, oh yeah, their kid John is at Green Mountain High School and he graduates in 2 years. And so next time I call him and ask about John and how his junior year is going, right? Then they start going, I don't even remember telling them that stuff. How did you remember all that? Well, I didn't. I use a tool, because this is a bad tool for memory. This is what it's built for. Your computer is what I'm tapping on Zoom here. Your computer is built for memory. That's what it's good at. It's not good at thinking. We like to pretend AI is good at thinking. No, it's just really good memory. That's all it is. I think I had a question. Somebody had a question.
And AI now in Command, it compiles your notes, so as soon as you go in there, it just says a brief summary of your life.
Right? Check this out. If y'all haven't seen this
It's
update,
really
it's so cool. I don't know if mine will work because I don't have a ton of updates. You have to have, I think, at least 5 entries. But you see here, AI summary, any contact you look at has to have at least 5 notes, and it gives you a little description of what you've talked about. I'm trying to see if there's anybody.
It says you call them on blank, blank, blank,
Tweeter.
and blank, and yeah,
It's great.
it's fun.
It's like, oh, your first communication was on March 5th where you texted them and they responded positively back to you. And then your next interaction was when you sent them an email again and you didn't get a response. And then the next interaction you called them, but you left a voicemail. And it gives me that in the AI summary, which is perfect for when I come in to make my next call and I go, who the heck am I calling? Because again, I can't remember our conversations. And if you're calling, if you have a database of 350 people and you're calling them 4 times a year, you're gonna get crossed on what you talked about with who. That's why we use the CRM. That's why we put them all into this database. That's why every high-level agent does this and has a CRM is because it can store all of that great information from what their kid's name is to when they're thinking about moving to all of the standard information, emails, phone numbers, all of that. You don't need to remember, and you shouldn't be trying to remember all that information. And so let's talk our final review and action steps. Number one, spreadsheet and scrub. That is if that's where you're at in your business, for my new agent Rachel here, that's where you're gonna be starting. Get your names into a spreadsheet, remove the ones that don't belong. Contacts needed to reach your goal. You're gonna need to start finding more contacts, unless you're Kathleen, who's like, I already have enough. I just gotta start communicating.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, you know what you need to do. Pick up the phone. The Purple Crocus event though seems like it's going good. I've been getting the emails.
You've been getting them?
Contacts to reach your goal, start adding them to that spreadsheet, start filling the holes. Ask the real estate question. What is your real estate plan for the next year? For the rest of this year? Or do you have a plan for real estate for 2025? Find the way that it comes out of your face the right way. It might not be my script or dialogue up here, but find a way to ask that question. What is your real estate plan for 2025? Fill the holes and then start your touch program. And don't think that you have to do all or nothing in the touch program. Sometimes agents, they want to just go, well, I'm not ready to send direct mail, so I'm just not going to do anything. No. Let's get some simple stuff started. That doesn't cost money. That doesn't cost too much time. It's better to have 12 touches a year than 0 touches a year. And really, if you're going to pick a touch, it's phone calls. Skip the rest of them. You will get more business from phone calls in 1 year than you will ever get from emails in your entire career. You might have somebody email you, hey, I'm thinking about buying. One time. I've had it happen once in 7 years. Phone calls, probably 99% of my deals started with a phone call. A couple of them started with a Facebook message. A couple of them started with a text message. But most of them, phone calls. Phone calls is how we connect with people. Do them 4 times a year, use DTD2. I'm here to help y'all. Turn that database into a data bank. That is what we are here to do, here to learn today. And before we leave, I want to hear a couple of ahas from the group. And ahas, agents helping agents. Anything that maybe you knew it already, maybe it's something that you just needed to hear today, that you heard it today and you go, I need to focus on. Or maybe it's something brand new that just literally blew your mind, or it was the light bulb moment that made things start making sense after going to all these other classes and you're now like, so let's grab some ahas. What ahas do we have from today's class?
Advanced filter.
Yes, the advanced filter is huge. That is a really important
I was
tool.
creating tags, it's already there.
You're doing the no address tag, no email tag. We used to have to do that. The advanced filter came in like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so before we used to have to do I call them negative tags, right? So you always had your negation tags, no this, no that, no birthday, so that we could pull that list. Now we have the advanced filter that allows our is empty options, that we can find people who are missing information. Love that. Advanced filter. Wow. What else? Any other ahas? Zoom, you can unmute, or you can drop them into the chat. All right, I've got one in the chat. And it says, my business is part of my everyday life. Oh, I love that, Sonny. You will never work a day in your life if you just make this business the things you like to do. And one of the reasons I love this business is because it's not too hard to do that. What else?
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. Start your database in a spreadsheet. So much easier.
Late. Well,
Well, we can we can rip your database out of Command and get it into a spreadsheet through Command and then delete everything that's in Command to reset it. Do that with me, please. Please don't do it on your own. You might make a mistake, but
yeah.
I will make sure that if we do it together, everything goes as planned. But that is an option. I just ripped the 6,000 person database out for an agent the other day, and she was starting back from 0. You know, like, it's all a mess. I don't know 5,000 of the 6,000 in there. Get them out. Let me restart from fresh. It's like, cool. We did it. She texted me later, just added 200 contacts. Next week, another 100 contacts. Right on. Just adding the people that she wants to be systematically communicating to. That's who we want in our database to start. Eventually, we want to grow it with this to that 6,000 number and just start sending as much as we can. We're probably not going to call 6,000 people in a year, but we can email 6,000 people a month just as easy as it is to email 600 people a month. So great tools. Give me one more aha before we wrap up. On Zoom or in person? You're the only one who hasn't given us one yet.
Hopefully you'll teach this again.
I will. This is the only
elephant.
class.
The elephant was,
Yes.
because I say that a lot to my friends.
Yeah, take it one bite at a time. And this class will come back. This is the only class I have on the monthly schedule this year that will repeat. So I will teach this class again later in I believe it's scheduled for the third quarter this year. So I like August, June, July or August, I think I'm teaching this one again. Because like I said, this is a really popular class. Unfortunately, we didn't get the promotion done like I normally do. That's good because y'all are here and you got a little bit more private experience. My folks on Zoom, thank you for coming as well. One more reminder, I'm going to be sending you the recording of this. I'm going to send you the resource file link and I'm going to send you the evaluation link. But I would love it if instead of waiting for the evaluation link, you just scan this QR code right now. We're going to get you out of here 10 minutes early. This only takes 1 minute to fill out. Fill out the evaluation by scanning the one that says evaluation. There's a question in there with your name. You do not have to put your name in there. You are fine to leave it anonymous. But if you do say you're willing to record me a video testimonial, I do need your name. Because if you say yes, but you don't give me your name, I don't know who it is because it is anonymous. But please be honest. I read every comment that gets put in there. I look at all of the reviews. They help me plan my next classes and knowing if I'm being effective. Take a moment, please. After that, I'm here for the next 10 minutes to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, you are free to go once you finish your evaluation for me. Thank you all. I appreciate you being here. All my YouTubers, thank you for making it this long through the day, and we hope to talk to you soon.